Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Willow. I know that you've had a random moment where you start to think about something that you did in the past and you start to cringe so bad to the point where you stop whatever you're doing and you're like, I don't understand why I did that. When you are trying to tackle this feeling of guiltiness and embarrassment or whatever it is, whatever relation that you're having towards your past self, first thing that you need to understand is knowing that this is a good thing. It is good to sit down and to feel guilty, to feel embarrassed, to feel even shame towards a past behavior, a past version of yourself, because that just goes to show that you are evolving. That goes to show that there is a new version of yourself that is healthier, that is better, that is willing to take the extra mile and the extra step that that person wouldn't have before. We're always growing, we're always evolving, we're always becoming better versions of ourselves. And to look back at a past version of yourself and be like, wow, I feel completely different from her. I don't relate to her anymore, but I understand why she may have acted that way. I just don't like the way that she acted is such a good thing, because it goes to show that your mentality is no longer in that same space. That past version of myself definitely has some healing, some growing to do. I think that it's beautiful to be able to look back at yourself and to be like, okay, yeah, I understand where the healing and growing needed to take place, and I'm glad that it did, because it brought me to exactly where I am today. So the first thing that you ever have to really do whenever you are feeling guilty, you're feeling shameful, you're feeling embarrassed about any past decisions, behaviors, or anything that you've done, even if it's like a month ago to 6 years, like it doesn't matter when it happened, but knowing that you have a different mentality towards it and a different perspective is one of the most important things you can do, because at the end of the day, you're not obligated to prove to anybody else where you're at mentally, but you are obligated to do that to prove it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to be like, I understand that we've evolved. I understand that we've grown so far from that place or that mistake, that past decision, whatever it was, that I am now in a new and evolved place, and I am grateful for where I am. And so just knowing, number one, that it is a good thing and that you are evolving as a human, you are evolving, you're growing, will help you kind of look at the situation a little bit more lighter, and to understand that there are now steps and measures that can be taken to prevent those types of situations. Once you start to know that, it's so much easier to forgive yourself, and forgiving yourself is the next step to being like, okay, I don't feel guilty or shameful or embarrassed about this situation anymore, because I forgive myself. I understand that I was at a different mentality space. I understand that where my circumstances were at back then are no longer where they're at right now. I have a different perspective on life. I've evolved. I've become a better version of myself. Forgiving yourself for not having the type of knowledge that you do now and the type of mentality is really important, because once you understand that concept of you have evolved and you are a different person, you will definitely start to feel a little bit more ease to forgive yourself and to forgive yourself for wherever you were at that time. And feeling guilty of yourself, like, not only doesn't come from situations where they could have been bad or like in quote unquote embarrassing, but it could have came from a situation where it was like, I knew I should have done X, Y, and Z, and I took a different route, and that led me to where I am today. But like, just being like, I had to do that decision. Like at that time, like I didn't necessarily have the knowledge that I have now, or I didn't, have whatever it is, the resources. So it's like, I had to take that turn. I had to take that step. I had to do whatever it is in that past situation to bring me to where I am today. So forgive yourself for that. Be light to yourself and be light to others, because at the end of the day, forgiveness is the only way to let go of everything and anything, and holding on to nothing is probably the best and lightest way to live in this life. Obviously, to just spread love, to hold on to nothing. Once you start to forgive yourself, once you kind of start to look at yourself like, okay, I've become a different version of myself, this is a completely different situation, you will begin to see yourself trusting yourself a lot more. I think trust with the self comes from always having yourself and knowing yourself intuitively, and knowing that the decisions and everything that you're doing, your behavior, your actions are in the right direction for where your mentality is at and where you are at today. Being really intuitive with your self-awareness and just your life in general, having that trust with yourself is one of the most important things, because it will allow you to ease into situations easier. And when you do forgive yourself, it kind of allows you to trust yourself in a way. You're telling yourself like, hey, it is okay. You don't have to be scared anymore. You don't have to look at those situations and be like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing, because I know that in me now, I would never make that decision. I would never go forth to making those mistakes or going out towards those behaviors or whatever the case may be. It just requires another layer of being like, it's okay, we got this now. Like, it's okay to your past self, like, we got this now. I know who I am. I know what I would do and what my mentality is, how I perceive my life, and I am going to make sure that I always do what's in my best interest going forth from me here on out. Those are small things that you can do to help your mentality, but just practicing it as you go, consistency, I feel like is always going to be the number one thing that is going to lead you to exactly where you're looking to go, whether it be business, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be that you're trying to achieve a goal or accomplish something. Being consistent is the number one thing that is going to help you get to where you want to be. So I just will always say being consistent in your mentality with that space, just being like, hey, it's okay, I'm forever evolving, I'm forever growing, forgiving yourself and others, and truly just allowing yourself to fully feel safe within yourself and trusting yourself. There's also always so many practices that you can do to build that mentality if you're more of somebody who likes to do practices as well. I always talk about affirmations. Affirmations are a really good way. They are a slow but effective practice, I would say. They do take some time. When you first start it, you're going to be like, this is silly. I don't feel like this is doing anything, but they definitely are a slow and effective practice. So I would recommend to do some of those. Heal your nervous system and calm your nervous system, because I feel like a lot of the times when we do think about those moments before, it's because our body still remembers them. So working through ways to allow our body to release those traumas, which you could do like stretching. Even like if you working out is a really good way to get your body moving and to do a lot of movement. Breath work works. I'd recommend to go on Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, search ways to help regulate your nervous system and to calm your body, because again, your body is always going to remember some things that your mind does not. So working through your body and working through the physical in that way will definitely help. But also just know that literally nothing in this life is embarrassing. There is nothing in this life that is embarrassing that you should look at and be like, I have so much shame for this, because at the end of the day, like I had said, we are evolving. We're forever evolving. We're forever becoming better versions of ourselves. And what you knew 2 years ago is not what you know now. Embarrassment is like an illusion almost. It's almost like an illusion. Like if you feel embarrassed about something, there's most likely a lot of people are also going to think that it's embarrassing. But if you take it as like, oh, hey, it's just a lesson. Oh, hey, like I'm just learning. I'm just growing. I'm just on this life living and rocking like everybody else is, I feel like a lot of people won't deem it as embarrassing. If you were to be like, oh my gosh, that is so embarrassing, I can't believe I did that, like they're gonna be like, okay, why was it embarrassing? Let me see why it's embarrassing. And then they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that was embarrassing. But if you're like, hey, I'm just learning, I'm growing, they're gonna be like, you know what, yeah, I see that as a mistake as well. Like I see that as something that you could just grow and learn from as well. So I think that you again are the narrator of your own life. So don't ever allow anybody to make you feel guilty or for you to feel embarrassed about a situation. Obviously, we're human beings. It's going to come naturally. We're going to cringe. We're going to have our moments, but and obviously always look back and be at like, even if it's like little things that like don't even really matter, you're going to be like, okay, why did I do that? But again, you're in a whole different spot of your life. You're evolved into a new version of yourself. So don't ever feel embarrassed. Know that embarrassment doesn't even really exist. It is an illusion. And that's what we're going to deem it as. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you in another video. Bye.